Ori, I know it's very early in the morning there, so thank you for staying up and talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You recently wrote a piece on New Line magazine, and point by point, you basically lay out why Netanyahu's claims of victory are questionable. You say Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, basically for all of us, framed the operation on Iran as a preemptive attack, saying the Iranians were just days away from making a nuclear weapon and Israel faced an imminent threat. But you write in this piece that that was just a cover and distraction from the true reason. Explain to us what you mean by that.
I think the true reason the attack on Iran was ordered at this time has everything to do with Israel's failed campaign in Gaza. I think Israel has failed abysmally in everything it has done in Gaza, and that is without taking into consideration the war crimes and the crimes against humanity Israel has committed. Israel set for itself two goals in Gaza: destroying Hamas and returning its hostages. It did not manage to do either one of those things. The attack on Iran was meant to do two things. One is rally Israeli citizens around Netanyahu's leadership, even as national resilience was somewhat flagging with regard to the seemingly never-ending war in Gaza, and also, and perhaps more importantly, to rally the world around Israel, to restore Israel to its original status as a bastion of civilization, fighting the good fight, upholding Judeo-Christian morals and whatnot. This seemed like an easy task because Iran has been a thorn in the global north side for some time. It certainly won the animosity of the most prominent countries in Europe. The United States had a long history of struggling with Iran. So Netanyahu thought a war with Iran could change focus for the international community and could restore Israel to its former status, where Israel enjoys absolute impunity for its actions in the Middle East.
But Ori, distractions don't last long. Did that strategy for Netanyahu work for his domestic audience in Israel? And with that distraction for now over, with the ceasefire appears to be holding, what's going to happen next?
Well, the truth is that Israel has been slowly yet surely imploding over the past 2 years as it has fought its failed campaign in Gaza. Most Israelis supported this campaign. They still do. They still think that Hamas is an existential problem and must be taken care of. Most Israelis, the great majority of Israelis, supported Netanyahu's war in Iran. But as time moves on, and it is beginning to become apparent that the historic Israeli victory, which will stand for generations, as Netanyahu said, is less historic and much, much more short-term and tactical, Israelis are, again, they support Netanyahu's efforts against Iran, but with a grain of salt. They are resilient and they treat the collective national sentiment as perhaps Israel's most important asset, but they are also somewhat confused, somewhat nonplussed, somewhat unaware exactly of what was happening and whether what Israel did and the price they paid was worth the effort.
Wow. Well, what about the mixed messaging we got from Israel when it came to regime change in Iran? Defense Secretary Israel Katz even threatened to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Is that still an objective for Benjamin Netanyahu, even though he brushed off Katz's comments?
He brushed off Katz's comments, but of course he was the one, or his people were the ones who briefed Katz and told him to make those comments. That's very much par for the course as far as Netanyahu is concerned. I don't think regime change was ever a serious target for Israel. The calls on the Iranian people to rise up in rebellion as Israel was bombing Iran incessantly are somewhat akin to calling on the Palestinians to rise up against Hamas after Israel has been starving them for 2 years. That's not serious strategy. It's not even serious tactics. Bombing Evin prison in Tehran, the infamous prison for...
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, why bomb the entrance of Evin prison and hurt the political prisoners that are often held there?
The only ones who were hurt were the political prisoners. Nobody else was hurt. And that shows you how serious Israel's commitment was to destabilizing the regime or fomenting a rebellion or whatever. These were empty platitudes. They were never meant seriously. Israel, to be quite frank, doesn't care a whole lot for the welfare of the Iranian people. But Israel wanted legitimacy. Israel wanted to remind the world time and time again, and to do it in a way that is completely devoid of sophistication or finesse, that when Israel is good, Iran is bad. That is the inequality. Israel has worked for 2 decades at the very least to drill into the international community's collective mind. The problem is that this inequality is a double-edged sword. When Israel looks bad, Iran suddenly looks better. And the end of this 12-day war, which appeared to be very much coordinated with the United States, including, according to some intelligence reports, the United States allowing Iran to remove the fissionable stockpile from the underground installation at Fordow before the American strike. But even if that is not fully corroborated, certainly the Iranian retaliation on Al Udeid Air Force Base in Qatar was coordinated with both the Qataris and likely the Americans. I think that demonstrates that the Iranians and Americans were already talking intensely long before this war ended. I think that demonstrates that while Israel may appear to have established dominance and to have won the tactical battle, Israel really did not win the war.
Wow. Well, your article on New Line magazine certainly raises a lot of fascinating and also alarming points. Again, thank you so much, Ori Goldberg. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.